Hello, and thank you for joining me today. In this video, I want to talk about the two Gothic novels I've read this month. So in January, I'm only reading classic books, and I'm having so much fun. I feel like this month, or so far, has been one of the best reading months I had in quite a while. I want to talk about these two books. I don't know, I didn't plan to reading them together. I've seen A Sicilian Romance by Anne Radcliffe at the library just before it closed down for the lockdown in December. And I always meant to pick up an Anne Radcliffe book because she's just so known. She's one of those authors everyone who reads, or not even reading, like everyone knows kind of about her in some way, because her books and she's referenced in so many novels, and she just pops up here and there. And I remember reading several historical fiction books romances where she was referenced, for example. And I also know that Jane Austen was influenced by her a lot, and she kind of wrote her own version of the Gothic novel in Northanger Abbey. So when I saw this at the library, I knew I had to pick it up. And it's not even, they're both really short, so it's quite easy to get through. I was a bit apprehensive when it comes to the language, because this was written in 1790. It's actually Anne Radcliffe's second book. So I just thought that maybe something written such a long time ago, it will be very hard to read and very flowery and heavy in description. But no, this is so easy and so fast-paced. It's like a fast-paced mystery thriller, I would say. And there's just so many things happening. It's not description heavy at all. I would say quite the opposite. And yeah, I really appreciated the writing style. And I really appreciated how I do in every single classic novel, that I really enjoy when experiencing the language and how the words were used in very different contexts then as opposed to how they're used now. I think I enjoy that a lot, and especially in this one, it really came to the forefront because of how, I would say, almost simple and bare the language was. The only thing I can fault this in its style is that it is much more tell than show, and we're not invited to participate with the protagonist and the characters in the story, so we're kind of distanced from it all. That's the only thing I think which makes this book a bit maybe feel like it's old in its style, because I would have preferred more active dialogue and insight into the character's head, but we don't get here. We don't get this here. So Anne Radcliffe is the queen of the Gothic novel. She just popularized this genre and made it so known. She was so popular that today you can only compare her to J.K. Rowling, and that is amazing for a woman who is writing at that time. So she was publishing books from the 1790s and early 1810-20s, I would say. And yeah, I said this is her second novel, and this is not even her most popular one. But I can really tell where the Gothic novel comes from, because all the tropes that you can imagine in a Gothic novel are in here. And as I said, it's not even that long. I was a bit surprised at the beginning, but towards the end I was like, okay, I know what's coming. You're doing this. I know that this is going to happen, and it did. You just follow these two young women at the beginning who live in this castle in Sicily. This castle mansion is so big that they don't even explore all of it, because it just feels like it's endless. They live there with an older woman who is taking care of them. Their father is living in the capital, somewhere in a city far away, but he comes back with their stepmother and a large party of guests. And while these guests are there, one of the girls falls in love with one of the guests. But the father is against this match, because the father found already another suitor for her, an older, creepier gentleman or nobleman or something. And she flees because she doesn't want this marriage. And throughout this novel, we follow her and how she flees and what happens to her. And as I said, there's so many twists. And I just felt that some of these were kind of way too much over the top. But this is what you get when you pick this up. I mean, I would say in modern days, this is like a soap opera. This is just so dramatic and overly romantic. And the characters are either very good or very bad. There's no one in between. There's no shades of gray here at all. And yeah, some of the tropes were kind of ridiculous, I feel. There were these caves, and the heroine could always hide in those caves, even though their pursuers kind of saw her getting in the cave to hide. She always found this dark spot where no one could see her, so she could evade capture. Or there was always the door, a hidden door in that cave, which led somewhere where, of course, she discovered something which is relevant to the furthering of the plot. And I just think it was so ridiculous. My eyebrows were like a lot throughout this. But I mean, just to read like the original Gothic novel, so to speak, I think it's priceless. And looking and reading afterwards Northanger Abbey, I could really tell that Jane Austen took inspiration from this and which elements she used. And I've read previously also Jane Eyre, and yeah, there as well I can tell specifically how this genre influenced her. And looking at Daphne du Maurier's books as well, I think it's pretty obvious now. And it's not like I didn't know the Gothic genre or the Gothic novel before, but reading it in like the undiluted form is just priceless, I feel. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, even though, I mean, this is not even her best novel, people say. The only thing which would have topped this novel while reading this was reading The Mysteries of Udolpho, because The Mysteries of Udolpho is the one which is constantly referenced in Northanger Abbey. It's the novel Catherine Morland, our heroine, reads throughout this book. And how impressionable a young lady Catherine Morland is at the age of 17 is just priceless. She imagines herself in this Gothic novel world she reads in The Mysteries of Udolpho, and she is just... It's just crazy how naive and how impressionable she is, and how I mean, she doesn't know anything about people and the world, and she's thrown into bad society, and she's meeting all these new people. She has to navigate this world, and you can really tell that the interactions she has with these people, I mean, and the nuances in these conversations she's having, she's missing all of them. And she's just, I don't know, she's not one of my favorite Jane Austen heroines. She's really far from being a Lizzie Bennet, but she has her own charm. And of course she will get her happy ending. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I would definitely want to pick up more books which were influenced by Anne Radcliffe. And yeah, maybe read also The Mysteries of Udolpho at some point. I don't know. But I feel like I've read this one. I feel like I've read them all. I don't know, have you read any Anne Radcliffe? Please let me know, because it just felt that all of the tropes of the Gothic novel were just mushed into this one. Everything. Every twist and turn, every trope you could find, it was in here. And it's just... Yeah, looking back at it, it was just a lot of fun. And even though maybe while reading it, I was really incredulous, I would say the right feeling was. Yeah, I feel like I want to watch Northanger Abbey and the TV adaptation, a movie adaptation of it now. I think that would be a great way to finish off this Gothic novel reading experience. But yeah, this is where I leave you today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.